Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talks a Lot Boys. I'm your host. My name is Tyler, and as always, I am joined by the boys. We have Brennan.
What's going on, folks?
And we have Kyle.
Cheers.
Nice.
Thank you.
Rocking the strawberry lemonade truly. Very jealous.
Always delicious. Yeah. Always good.
Oh, yeah. Not sponsored, but, like, could be.
Could be. I would.
Hit us up, truly.
I would burn all my Bud Light stuff. Please.
So today we are, of course, talking about, you've read the title of this video, you know what we're doing. We're talking about the brand new Memphis Mayfire album, Remade in Misery. Been in the works for a very, very long time. We were just talking about this before we started recording, but the first single for this came out like a year ago, maybe over a year ago. It's been a long time. They've kind of been slowly releasing them. And then over the course of a year, they slowly released every single song except 2 as singles, which is fucking wild. That's not a formula you typically get, where just a whole album except for 2 songs or singles. But that's what they did, and now the album is here. And came out last Friday, and today, as of this recording, is the Monday after. We've had the whole weekend to kind of like sit on it and absorb it. Granted, we've kind of had a whole year to absorb most of this, but with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Brennan first as the longest time Memphis Mayfire fan in the room. What do you think of Remade in Misery? What are your overall thoughts?
So to give a little more credence to Tyler's claim as being the longest Memphis Mayfire fan here, I actually found this band when The Hollow came out. And heard, because I was like anticipating of Mice and Men's The Flood coming out back in 2011, and I saw a lot of people in the comments saying like, "Oh, the Memphis Mayfire's record's way fucking better, dude." And I was like, "What are people talking about?" And then that's when I stumbled upon The Hollow. And is this album the Hollow? Hell no. That is the peak. Like that and Challenger is the absolute peak. Unconditional, a little slip, and then off a cliff from there. But
Yep.
It's a very solid record. A lot better than their last 2 releases. I couldn't even tell you what the hell they're called. That's how little I've really paid attention to them.
The first very bad one was This Light I Hold. I don't remember the name of the one after it.
Yeah, the one after
Broken.
Bro, yeah. It's like the skull with the rose.
Yeah. Which that one was better, but again, the bar was on the ground as of the previous album, so it really wasn't hard to pass that, and it barely passed it. So
yeah, and they almost brought out the shovel.
Yeah,
but this record, it's very solid. I am kind of disappointed in the fact that they pretty much released the entire record as singles.
I agree.
My only real gripe with this record is it has a very similar problem to what Wage War's Manic had.
I agree.
Like, if you look at the length of the songs, I mean, there's very few that are, like, any different. And the song structures of most of the songs, there's a few that are a tad different, but, you know, the song structures are, like, identical, where, like, you know, at the same time things are happening, like, the same parts of songs, things are happening. Yeah. And there's even one song that I feel is, like, a ripoff of a Wage War song. I can't remember the Wage War song. But then again, Cody Quistad from Wage War produces a lot of these records and has worked with Matty Mullins before extensively in the past. So wouldn't surprise me if that was the case of those two collaborating. But
here's
I think
a fun
it's a
point
good record
that I kind of want to bring up going off of what you just said. Because you're right. I think that this does, like, fundamentally, when you listen to this album as a whole, you kind of run into the same issue we had with Manic. Not nearly to the same degree, obviously, but I'm wondering, right, if this album had not been released as, like, all singles over the course of a year, would we, if we experienced this album in one sitting from the first time, would we have been as upset about it as we were with the Wage War album? What was it beneficial for us to experience each of these songs in a vacuum before we listened to them all back to back to back?
I feel like I still would have come to a similar conclusion. Just simply looking at the track times and like listening to the songs, like, you know, through and through. Because I mean, Wage War didn't really do that with their record, and that was like the first thing I picked up on was like,
right.
every single song pretty much goes exactly the same way.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, would it have been worse for this album if they had done it the same way as Wage War, where it was like all new all at once, and we're like, oh shit, everything's the same. Like,
yeah, pretty much. Because I mean, even though it has that issue, like a lot of the songs that they released as singles are still really good songs.
Yeah.
It's just my gripe is like they all kind of follow a very they're all very formulaic.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can agree with that.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on the overall record, I guess.
Nice. Kyle, where are you at with this one as the least tenured Memphis Mayfire fan of the three of us?
To kind of go off of like what you guys were just talking about, I feel like with the like if it was just like in a vacuum, some of these singles, maybe like half of them, because that is 9 of the songs, I haven't listened to since they came out, like some of them like a year ago now or so, or like maybe like many months now. So re-experiencing this album, listening to it top to bottom on release, except for like the most recent singles like Only Human, American Dream, and some others, it kind of felt like I was re-experiencing them again, especially when they were like in the context of the full album. I kind of felt as though I was getting them for the most part like new and avoid kind of thing. Obviously not legitimately, but I didn't really feel the exact same way I did with Wage War. And like we already said, not to anywhere near the same extent. But I definitely picked up on the sameness a lot. I just feel like, possibly hot take, Memphis Mayfire knows how to make better music than Wage War. So it was even when it was samey, I still was having a good time. Like there was not a point on this album where I was like, oh god, like I did with Wage War. Like I was just not having a good time on many songs of Wage War, where I never really felt like I was in a slog with this album. I was still having a good time. A lot of it does kind of harken back to like bits of like Challenger Hollow era. Doesn't reach the peaks of Hollow. I think it kind of matches alongside Challenger at some moments.
I can agree. Yeah.
But I don't know. I also kind of got around to listen to this band around when the Hollow came out, because some of my friends at the time were like, dude, this album's cool and edgy. And I was like, oh shit, I want to be edgy. and I started listening to it. I really liked the Hollow. And then I barely listened to Challenger when it came out. I since now have gone back and listened to it, and I have appreciation for it. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, my personal thoughts of this album are, it's a good time. I think it's really solid. Falls victim to a sameness that I was literally gonna say, Brennan, before you were like, well, Cody did help produce the album. Yeah, I saw that pop up at the end of it, because at the end of all the songs in Apple Music, it'll like pop up like who wrote and like worked on the songs, and I saw it, but like all of them, and I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think the album is really fun. I think it's like a shut your brain off and vibe. Also, a lot of them are really good live. As Tyler and I can attest to, seeing a lot of them live.
They slap live. Yeah, like, a lot of the new tracks
Blood
are
and
very
Water
good live.
made me fucking feel shit. Like that was like legitimately mad impressed with their live performance of a lot of these songs. Like it felt,
for sure.
It had the same energy as songs from like their older discography, and I didn't think that was possible. So that kind of gave me a little bit more of appreciation of a handful of them as well. That like it had that same energy, which was dope as shit. But I like the album. It's cool.
I agree. Yeah, I would say like the high points of this album, right? Sick Nasty breakdowns. I think like with a few exceptions, there are really solid breakdowns on this album throughout. Very nice.
Let me stop you right there.
Well, yes, Bren listens to deathcore, so he's going to disagree, but
I listen to a lot of metalcore as well. My only complaint, the breakdowns, yes, they are pretty fucking gnarly. Okay. But from Unconditional, like you had it a little bit back then, but like before then they didn't have this problem. The breakdowns are way too short.
You're not wrong. There's one song specifically where like I think it was one of the songs that I like actively didn't like, and we're gonna talk about it here in a minute. There's one song where the breakdown is like a measure long, and I was like, why even put it in?
They started having this problem kind of in Unconditional, but there were a few songs that totally avoided that issue. But in pretty much all their work since, if a song does have a breakdown, it's literally only 2 measures long, and then boom, we're back into the final chorus or like the bridge to the chorus. Like where is like the Haunted, where like it's like a breakdown like that's long, all of a sudden it's like fucking even like another section of a breakdown. Like, why not fucking take the gloves off and just like let people beat each other up for a minute and then get back, like really hit you with the final chorus?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think at this point we just got to be happy they have breakdowns at all, because the last 2 albums we got none of that shit. So it's just nice to have them returning to form in some capacity.
But like they kind of had this issue before, and I was just like, no, I want like I want mayhem, I want chaos, I want it like for a duration of time.
Well, aside from the breakdowns, I also think that they managed to have some like surprisingly catchy choruses on a lot of these tracks, and I think that like lyrically, like as far as like lyrical content goes, some very you know, introspective topical things that they managed to kind of work into some of these songs too, which is very cool. But yeah, we're not gonna waste any more time rambling. We're gonna go into it. We're gonna start ranking these songs from worst to first, as we do here on the channel. It's what everyone's here for. I'm gonna list them off in the order they appear, and then we're just gonna start throwing things into the old guillotine. All right. Track number 1 is Blood and Water. Track number 2 is Bleed Me Dry. Track number 3 is Somebody. Track number 4 is Death Inside. Track number 5, The American Dream. Track number 6, Your Turn. Track number 7, Make Believe. Track number 8, Misery. Track number 9, Left for Dead. Track number 11, Only Human, featuring AJ Channer. And final track is Fight Within. Now, we have to put something at the bottom.
We sure do.
I think there are a couple songs that deserve to be in the conversation for the bottom half of this list. I would like to hear your thoughts. Is there anything that jumps out to either of you as being the worst song on this album?
I think there's 2 songs that should be in this discussion. The first one is Misery. The second one is The Fight Within.
I agree.
Ironically, are the only
ones that weren't singles. Yeah, Misery, I think, is not good. I was actually surprised at like how much I didn't enjoy Misery. I have in my notes, this song reminds me of the Bad album, which is not good.
No. Like whenever I first heard it, I was like, man, this is like a totally different like top 40s direction they just took this track into.
Yeah. It just reminds me of the previous 2 albums, and I was like, I thought we moved away from this. Like, I thought that we were done with that whole vibe of like, we're not gonna be heavy, but we're not gonna be like another genre. We're just gonna stay in this like edgelord zone where it just doesn't sound appealing at all. And I'm like, I thought we moved past this, guys. Like, you knew this doesn't work. This is why you hearkened back to your older style, and that's why people like you again. But they had to work one in, and I was not a fan. Also, this is the song specifically where I was like, the breakdown is like a second long, and it's like, well, why even have it then at that point? It felt like an afterthought, you know?
I will say, whether this is like a bonus towards it or like point for or against, I don't know. The build up to the breakdown with the drumming and shit, I took note that's pretty dope. And in a lot of songs, I make a comment about the drums on this album, because the drums really, if it was like an okay song, it really built it up. Or if it was a song that I just wasn't feeling, I was like, well, at least the drums are tasty, and it saved it for me. So
the drums are solid on this whole album. You're not wrong.
Very, very good.
Yeah, their drummer is underrated as fuck, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Especially seeing him live. Like, the dude can play. Like, oh my god.
It was an Alex Garland or something like that.
Yeah, I never learned his name. I know what he looks like, but I never knew his name because I'm a terrible fake fan.
Fake.
I am gonna say I think The Fight Within should be in these bottom 2, but I think it should be over Misery.
Do you?
If for nothing else, I feel like Misery really doesn't have much going for it. You said the drums are good. The drums are good and everything. I feel like The Fight Within, whereas Misery felt like they didn't even know what they wanted it to be, I feel like The Fight Within at least had like a core like vibe they were trying to hit, and I feel like they hit that. And it's not as good as the rest of the songs on the album, but I think that the way they layered the vocals, it was kind of like an ethereal feel, and I thought I could respect that. That was really cool, very well done. And I think lyrically, it was just like a very powerful piece. So like, it's not a song I'm going to come back to a lot, and it's not better than any of the other tracks, aside from Misery, in my opinion. But I think because it has some things that I can respect about it and some salvageable things, that puts it above Misery, in my opinion.
I'd probably agree. I mean, because like really, when I look back at my notes for Misery, it's just a lot of like, chorus is okay, verse is okay, drums,
Yeah.
vocals at the end are kind of cool, and like that was like all my positives were around drums and the moment in the vocals. It's just like it's so odd that they got this weird like marchy kind of like just kind of I'm stomping with the instrumental like the whole song. I was just like, this is just going nowhere, when most of these songs the instrumentals are pretty involved, and then like immediately compared to The Fight Within, it's just like they got more like a passionate vibe to it. They've got like that really cool like wooden tappy percussive thing happening like the first bit of the song too. There's like distant vocal things and like behind the like really forward passionate vocals. The vocoded stuff at the end is really fucking cool. And while it feels like it's a departure for their stuff, it is a cool like way to like wrap it up in a very passionate, different way. And like the little things that they added in alone immediately are like way more interesting than anything Misery had to offer. So
I agree 100%. Brennan, what do you think about this?
I really don't like either song. They do like some cool things. Fuck. If I were to pick one, I'd have to put Misery above The Fight Within. Even though Misery kind of feels like they threw the dart and painted the bullseye afterwards.
That's awesome. That's really good.
That was the wildest metaphor.
But it's just because like it feels like they really didn't know what to do with the track, but then they kind of made it work, even though in my mind it's like a total like tangent off the record that's not really good. The Fight Within, the vocal performances on it are neat. Okay. But there's a lot that's stripped out of the song. I mean, it is like the ballad to end the record. Like a lot of bands do that shit. You know, it's like it's in now. But you know, a lot of like what the rest of the record really like feeds you in spades. Like this song really strips out from that. And I don't think the vocal performance is enough to put it over Misery. But I think Misery should just go above it and not higher in the slightest. So. That would be my pick.
Well, I think you were outvoted, unfortunately, because
but I will say
I'm outvoted, but that's just explaining my rationale, I guess.
To your point, I originally came into this wanting to say The Fight Within was the lowest, and my main reasoning for that is some of the stuff that you said, but also like in an album where they don't really do anything outside of their comfort zone, to have the very last song then be pretty severely out of their like a different thing. It feels very disjointed. It works and it's fine, but that alone made me be like, well, I don't fucking know. But then we talked about Misery, and I was like, yeah, man, that song fucking sucks. Let's throw that at the bottom.
In my opinion, both these songs are trash. But
I wouldn't say The Fight Within is trash, but I definitely don't like it. To claim something is trash for me has to be pretty bad for me to give it like no marks at all. So I would say like it's not great. They were smart for not releasing these two songs as singles. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
you can kind of tell they're the only two songs.
Like they knew, they were aware.
They're like the two songs that don't feel like old Memphis Mayfire. Like really, like any of the other songs this album, it could have come out like 8 years ago, and I probably would have been convinced. But like these two feel like either new age or like trying something weird. And
these two feel like they could have been on This Light I Hold, which is not a thing that you want said.
It's not a distinction that you want to earn in the slightest. Probably the most one-note record I've ever heard.
Yeah, I literally listened to it one time, and I was so upset by the time I finished it. And this was obviously way before we had this channel or anything, or Jesus Christ, you know, we would have torn out a new one when that came out. But
that would have been nuts.
Anyway, we're still talking about Remade and Misery. We got the bottom two locked in. We're moving on to the other low tier ones. Can I throw out that I think Your Turn does nothing? I feel like that's the next one, in my opinion.
All right, let me reinforce your point. So this is the track that I can't find the Wage War song, but this is almost a carbon copy ripoff of a Wage War song. Like the chorus, the fucking chord progression, like how they come in and out of parts. I mean, it is identical with like a little wrinkle here and there, but like like this song is like so samey, like in the genre as a whole. Like every, well, not every, because some bands actually like know how to write an entire record, but like, you know, in most records out there, okay, there's always a song that's like this, okay, in some vein. All right, and Memphismayfire was like, yes, Cody Quistad from Wage War, fucking tell us how to write like the most uninspired song and stick it in our record. And he was like, sure. And they went ahead and did that, and Your Turn was the result. So yeah.
Yeah, Your Turn was one of those, like, even when it was released as a single, I really didn't feel anything of it. It just felt like, this feels like it's in the same pocket as the stuff that they've been releasing, but it just doesn't do anything. Like, it exists for the sake of existing, but it does nothing to actually, like, justify its existence, if that makes sense. Like, my socks stayed so firmly on when I listened to this track that, like, it made my feet sweat. I wanted to like this track more than I did, and especially when it's surrounded by other tracks that just do it better. I mean, it's just sort of like, it feels like filler, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get that exact feeling. Yeah. Kyle, do you have anything to fucking say about this?
I agree. I mean, generally, I agree. My last note on the song was meh, because like, I don't know, it just, I had positive notes in there. Like, I was like, the chorus is like objectively strong, you know, like the chorus isn't bad. It catches you. One of the handful of songs of this album where I just felt like the verses did nothing and the chorus saved it just a tad enough that I didn't hate it. Like it, and also I think the breakdown's pretty alright. The bleh is good. I also think just that little instrumental riff that happens after every chorus I thought was pretty solid. So like, objectively, the song is fine. It just, like you guys said, it feels like it's there to be there. It is a song to make the album just another song longer, and I don't know. I don't know. Didn't really grip me that much.
And I think so we're safe to lock this in here. I think that the one that's like just one minor step above it, and I'm sorry for just aggressively continuing to throw these things out, I just feel like there is like a very distinct hierarchy to these things. Make Believe, I feel like, has to be just above Your Turn, in my opinion. Do we have any other songs that you would want to contest that?
Ooh.
Because I feel like we're starting to run out of the slog, right? I feel like we're getting up to the point where we're having the songs that we enjoy, that we want to talk about. Make Believe is not one of those, in my opinion.
Make Believe. For me, it's kind of in a similar vein to Your Turn in the way that Kyle put it. I do really enjoy the chorus, even though it's not like this flashy, like amazing, like, you know, note selection, everything's off the fucking heezy, but like,
right,
it's just really solid, and I think it's good enough to elevate the song out of like the total bottom, but I don't think there's another song on this record that I can put beneath it that isn't already beneath it.
Yeah, that's
unless Kyle's got something, but yeah.
Yeah, Kyle, do you have anything else that you would want to throw in the ring here?
I mean, the only other thing really to me that I had some meh feelings about, and I want you to know before I say this song, I really want this to be one of those instances that happens a lot, where we're all just shitting on songs, we're getting along pretty well, and then I say something, you guys are like, what the fuck? I can't believe he feels that way. How do you guys feel about Death Inside?
I have that marked as a top of the list track.
Cool, we'll fuck it off.
Especially compared to this, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to this, I'm fine with putting it above this. It's just, it's another song where I, at the end of it, felt pretty meh.
The only knock I have against Death Inside is I don't love the abrupt ending, but everything else is all positive notes.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty fair critique.
We just have different opinions, and that's all right. So we'll just come back to that later.
How do you feel about Make Believe?
I mean, for Make Believe, I think to me, the reason why I personally could see Make Believe being over Death Inside in my mind is that Make Believe feels like they aren't sticking to the exact same fucking like format that they do this, like most of the rest of this album. They have like a kind of unique way to get into the breakdown with the glitches and like just the guitar on its own that really doesn't happen anywhere else. The techno-y shit that kind of happens in there feels like an added spice that I'm desperately looking for at any other point in this album. I think it's like a slight change of pace, but also still stays in their style, and I like that. The breakdown's really good. The slower intro is kind of cool, but it also picks it up to a point where like I'm still interested. I think the vocals are really, really strong here, but then again, they're really strong in a lot of places. I just think the vocals, specifically the chorus here, really fucking stand out to me. I don't know. I didn't really think it was going to be like a next one. I had it very much in like the middle of the pack in my mind, which we're not there yet, but like
we're about there. It's a short album.
Yeah,
like,
it's a semi-short album, so we're kind of close. I was like, but like it's
yeah. I could not. I would not be able to live with myself if Make Believe somehow made it over Death Inside. I would actively lose sleep over that. That just seems like the wrong answer. That seems like the wrong thing to do.
I gotta back up Tyler on that.
Yeah.
This is Death Inside's probably in my personal top 3.
Yeah, I have it up there. It's a top 5 for sure. So
I'm glad this happened. I called it. So
I have asterisks by all the ones that deserve to be at the top, and that is one of them. So
yeah, I'm not that surprised that was going to happen. I kind of figured with just I listened to it again, and I was just like, man, this just isn't doing it for me. I'm sure it'll do it for a lot of people. It's just not it for me.
The verse is fucking rip, dude. Are you kidding me?
Do they?
Yes,
I don't especially know. Instrumentally. Goddamn,
instrumentally. That's my big positive. Is the song in general instrumentally feels really good to me. My biggest takeaway and the reason why I thought it was very middly is that the verses and the chorus to me just don't feel like they connect at all. It feels like two completely different feelings and vibes to me. And I was just like, it's the only song I feel that way about on the whole album. It's the only time I made the note where like the verse happens and we go to the chorus, and I was just like, these feel like two different songs to me. But I was like, it's very me. I'm sure this will be the song. Like I said, it's gonna be the weird. Kyle has an opinion. Oh, red alert!
At least you knew going into this that it was a wild take.
I was fully aware this was probably gonna happen. But yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't really do it for me. But we'll talk about it later because obviously I'm outvoted on it. That's why I have 3 people on the show.
It's true.
So yeah, I don't really feel about any other songs though. So if Make Believe's next, that's fine with me.
All right, well, we're going to lock in Make Believe, because I think at least Brandon and I seem to be on the same page, so that's... We're locking that in.
Kyle does bring up some really good points in the fact that it is different in the format.
Yeah, but I don't think that makes it better. Like, being different and being better are not mutually exclusive things.
No, yeah.
No,
correlation doesn't equal causation, so I'm gonna agree with that.
Like, I do respect the things it does differently. I do not think it's a bad song. I just think I can't compare it to the rest of the songs we haven't talked about yet. I think it just pales in comparison. It is not a song I'm going to go out of my way to listen to ever. So,
what do you guys think of Left 4 Dead?
Kyle.
Kyle. I'm
gonna let you just take a guess right now about what do you think I think about Left 4 Dead, Kyle?
You probably really like it.
I do really like it.
And you want to know what note I wrote on it? is I wrote like 4 notes, and I wrote, I feel like I'm missing it. Like I don't know.
I don't know if
didn't
this
write
album
much.
was for you, Kyle. I really don't know.
I don't know.
What were you
I mean-
expecting to get out of this album?
Good music.
Good
I don't
music.
know.
Isn't
I
that what
don't
you're
know.
getting? Like,
I don't know. Left 4 Dead.
Did
was-
you wait? This brings up another good point. Do you think that Make Believe is better than Left 4 Dead? Like, would you make that argument?
Yeah, probably.
Jesus, Kyle.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Where are we right now?
yeah, oh my god.
What? Sometimes I think I know you, and then sometimes this show happens, and I'm just like, I think we just live in separate universes. I genuinely, I don't get it.
It's like Tyler shops at Walmart and Kyle shops at Aldi's.
I thought you were gonna say Arby's.
No. I almost fucked that up.
Those are
like
two
going to-
very different places.
Because like going to Aldi's is like a parallel universe. Like there's like so many different brands. You're like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
See,
like
I thought you were gonna say like I shop at Walmart and he shops at Kmart because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
You're just wandering
yeah.
empty aisles with a cart,
that would have been better.
just not
Yeah.
knowing what's going on.
He's like, I think I'm missing it. Like looking around in like an empty store. Like, oh shit.
Kyle,
What? What do you?
well, I was gonna say, is there anything else that you want
No,
to
I
throw
mean
out?
those are literally like I had very, very extremely positive notes talking about very specific cool things, but everything else, it's Left 4 Dead and whatever the fuck the other one was, Death Inside. They were the only two where my notes were very much like. Let me clarify. Death Inside, I had a negative note with like how I personally felt like the verses and the choruses just didn't connect very much for me, and they felt like two ideas. With my Left 4 Dead thing, and the reason why I had to bring it up first is because I have no negative notes and I have no specifics other than the chuggy shit is really cool. It's literally, those instrumentals are sick. Chorus and instrumentals and vocals are all extremely strong here. A drive after the breakdown's really good. And that's like, I have that note on every other song and then some. So I was like, I don't know.
That's fair. At least, because see,
It's
the
not
way
negative.
the way you were pitching it made me think that you're just like, yeah, this is just
No.
a bad song. I don't know why you guys like this.
No, I like
You're like,
Left 4
this
Dead.
is
I like
trash.
Left 4 Dead.
Your opinion's
I
dog
will
shit.
say, I will say that the Death Inside, wait, did I say Death? Was it Death Inside?
We're talking about Death Inside and Left 4
Yes.
Dead.
Yeah, sorry.
Similar
I just
names,
keep-
so it's
yes,
easy to get
yeah.
confused.
Death Inside, I personally have a negative against it. I'll stand on that hill and I will die on
That's
it
fair.
very quickly. However, Left 4 Dead, I think is a good song. I think the song is fine. It's just a song where I didn't have any massive standout notes to me, other than the like where it gets like kind of overly chuggy at one moment, where I was like, that's cool, that's pretty neat. I like the song. I think it's fine. It's just every other note for every other song, I have like multiple specific instances where I'm like, that's really cool, and I value that more personally.
See, I think.
Well,
Well, actually, Brennan, I want you to throw out what you think could possibly be next. I have an idea, but I've been throwing out too many ideas, so I want you to. And Kyle's been throwing out too many
And I just
long
need to
ideas.
shut my mouth.
So,
So,
like,
you guys need to throw stuff out.
Brennan, I want to know. I want to know what you think is coming up, because it's not either of the Dead songs, but we will get to those.
oh, hey, I'm on the fucking hot seat.
I left it really warm for you. it's nice and toasty.
Oh, fuck, dude. This is the part of the show where it gets really tough.
I agree. Crazy.
Part of me feels that only human needs to be in the conversation. Not necessarily locking it in, but it just needs to be talked about here. Even though I really do like that song. You say yikes?
No, I said I do too.
Oh, okay.
No, I reacted
thought
to
you
that
were
one on the channel. I liked it.
Damn, I'm missing the mark too. Goddamn. I'd say probably, I'm gonna hate myself for this, but the American Dream.
No,
Kinda.
no, hard no, the hardest of no's. The absolute, like more of an aggressive stance against that than anything Kyle said. I would,
Really?
I would
Cool,
put
'cause I
American
feel the
Dream
same
over
way.
both of the Death songs easily.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I would say American Dream has potential to take the top spot.
I don't know about that, but I also feel strongly about it. Wow.
I really like. I said possibly, not definitely. I really like American Dream. It's one of my favorites. Personally.
No, I mean it's a bop. It's just there's songs on this record that I feel are better.
I feel like Somebody is not better.
That was gonna be my other one that we should probably bring up in this conversation as far as like what could possibly be next.
Yeah.
So I'd say if you're gonna go hard no in American Dream, I'd say Only Human and Somebody should be what we're discussing now.
I'm fine with this. Because I was thinking Somebody, and I think Only Human is probably in the conversation too, just based on what's left. So I guess let's just start talking about these two songs and see where we want to rank them. I'll start off by saying, because I wanted Somebody, I very much want Somebody to be next. Mainly because, sort of with the argument that Kyle is using for the Dead songs, of like, it's good, but there's nothing really of note to me in them that like sets it apart from anything that like we haven't talked about yet, right? I feel like it's the falsetto part is kind of cool in like the verses, like the lead up to the chorus, and the chorus is like good but not great.
The verse,
I feel like it's a good song, but it's not a great song. Even hearing it live, I'm like, it's good, but there's better songs.
The verses remind me of Imagine Dragons.
I wouldn't go that far at all, but I guess I can see where you're coming from, but I don't agree.
Because that guy, like, their vocalist does this kind of thing a lot in their
Kyle
stuff.
just fucking left. Kyle, if it makes you feel any better, I don't agree with this statement.
Spicy takes abound. I'm loving it.
I definitely don't agree with this.
What?
I just think I should just log off. I feel like we just have different feelings about this album.
I know. I need to hear what you think about it, because I don't agree with what was just said.
I 100% don't agree with this. What was just said at all. Brent, I don't want to stop you though with my near fucking unconsciousness there. Do you wanna finish what you had to say before I talk about the song?
There are a few songs. I couldn't name them. I hear them whenever someone plays them on the radio, but so I'm not really an Imagine Dragons fan. But their singer does a lot of similar stuff with like how he'll like start off like in his range, and then like him and the instrumentals kind of go up into that falsetto. I mean, like, because that's what, every time I hear this song, I immediately think Imagine Dragons. I don't know if, like I said, obviously I'm the only one that has this opinion, but that kind of turned me off of it a little bit. But I mean, the rest of the track's pretty solid. So
that's like,
yeah.
I feel like that's just like a scathing insult.
It really
to everything.
is.
Like, that's pretty bad. I don't agree with that.
Just call this review "Hot Takes Abound." Like,
honestly, yeah,
Takes
this is
Abound.
it's just all of
This is
us
a
having
spicy
wild
one.
takes on some of these songs. This is crazy.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Somebody I had in like my upper half personally when I looked at it and listened to it, and I actually had a different opinion after hearing it live. Tyler, to go off what you said, I actually like it more after hearing it live than I did, and maybe it's because I'm a slut for clean vocals, and they're some of my favorite on this album here. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the way the song's written, but it just feels so fucking good. I don't know if there's another spot in this album where I'm just fucking engulfed in delicious clean vocals the way that I feel it here. but I like the way that the chorus is split up into like kind of like two halves a bit as well. I think that really, it's like it's giving it to you, and then it gives it to you a little bit more with like the really high shit, the and that shit. But I was a vocalist once. I don't know if you did.
You still are, pal.
Thanks, man. I think like there were like the really cool layered vocals out of the breakdown that don't really happen a lot of other places other than maybe like the end of the album where it's a very different way of doing it. I think that it's another song. I mean, maybe this is just like leaning into what I think about Memphis May Fire. When they try something just a tad out of their comfort zone, but still are like within like what they usually do, it feels really good to me. Like I said, I like that about Make Believe, and I like it here where like it feels a little bit like kind of slower. It's not really in your face as much as some of the other tracks on this album. Especially like something like American Dream, which we openly compared it to. I mean, Brennan did, but I don't know. This is personally, I guess, hot take, one of my favorite choruses on the album. I think comparing it to Imagine Dragons is a level of blasphemy that I wish there was another word above it, and I can't think. I wish there was a word. It's what you've earned. Yeah, it's
blasfuckery.
It is absolute blasfuckery, and you should have a fucking giant red B on your chest for blasfuckery. That was disgusting.
Get like a brand on your chest.
Just a brand.
I almost experienced like just like you know that fucking the people riding the roller coasters and they're like like I had that moment after you said it. It was crazy. Windows start and end sound is crazy. No, I don't know. I really like the song. I will say I don't have like an overwhelming amount of notes for it like I do some other songs, so I would not stand by it being in the top like 3 even. You know, I would definitely say like it's middle to like above middle for me. But there are other songs that do really awesome things that I think deserve to be above it. I don't think it's next. Unfortunately, I also really like Only Human. So
I was gonna say, I feel how do we feel about Only Human by comparison? Because I feel like I don't actually know which way I would swing on these. I feel like I could go either way, but I don't want either of these to be any higher than these two spots. Because Only Human, I think like Only Human is great because of, and I mean, I talked about this in my, like, reaction or whatever, but, like, the fucking vocal feature from the Fire from the Gods guy is such a cool choice, and I was not expecting it, especially with, like, how he said, like, there's, like, a bit of sameness to a lot of the tracks. This is not samey, starting off, like, just comes in and the dude is, like, pseudo rapping, and it's like it's really cool, it's really freshens things up, gives you some extra different energy than you're getting on a lot of the other tracks, and I really like that. And the verses slap so hard, but unfortunately, in my opinion, the chorus does not match that level that the verses are bringing, and that is like the one thing that holds it back, because I think that every other song that is left has a significantly better chorus than Only Human. Somebody possibly has a better chorus than it also. I think that's debatable. I could switch either way on that. But that's like my general thoughts on the comparison here. Brennan.
I'll say I do think somebody has a better chorus. But Only Human definitely takes the cake on the verses, especially with the Fire from the Gods, you know, feature. I know I caught some heat from her before, but Only Human doesn't have a part that reminds me of Imagine Dragons, so that gets my vote.
See, just because you made that comparison, I want to put somebody above Only Human just to cement the fact that I vehemently disagree with that statement.
I mean, that's fine. That's over here.
But Kyle, what do you think about this? Where are you at?
In a world where I don't agree with you about a lot of things at this moment, I very much agree with you that the verses win in Only Human and the chorus wins in Somebody. What does that mean? You know, what does that really mean? Though?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know,
dilemma.
but I think that The feature is incredible. I think it's awesome. I think I'd probably give the edge of the breakdown to Only Human because I really like Only Human's breakdown. It's very good. The full stop, I know you mentioned in your reaction, the full stop fucking tickles me in places. Tickles my beard, if you will. And I really, so fucking tasty. I will agree the chorus does really fall flat in comparison to everything else that's happening around it. I do like the way that they kind of like, I think you also said it in your reaction actually, but there's like unclean, clean blending at times that happen, especially in like that final drive to the end of the song that I really like, that I think is really fucking cool. It's really fucking tough because I really like both of these songs. I also think it's cool they like have that stripped down bit in there. I think that's cool, and it doesn't suck me out of it too hard.
Right, yeah.
But like it does. Thank you, Brett. I had a moment where I was like, well, no. I think
I had to give you that hard stop.
Thank you. Much like the song did. Wow. But no, I don't know. I think AJ kills it in that track. I think the verses are really strong. Chorus just kind of doesn't do it. Breakdown's incredible. Cool. I don't know, man. It's tough because like somebody feels like a really solid Memphis Mayfire track to me, whereas Only Human feels like an experimental thing that works really well. What objectively is better?
I feel like, based on everything we've said, it sort of feels like even though Only Human has a weaker chorus, every other part of the song seems to be higher, like hit harder. We seem to be in the general mindset. I could be completely off base here, but it seems like we like the majority of Only Human more than...
I think probably, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably the right answer. Only Human over Somebody.
I'm okay with this.
Okay. We're going to lock that in. I'm going to recap, and then we're going to do a round of tabling. So it's about that time. So... Kyle looks so distraught. I'm sorry.
I just don't know. I have to think about him in a fucking table because I just like don't like two of the songs that are left that much. So like,
that's fair.
Like, what does that leave me with?
So number 11 is Misery. Number 10 is The Fight Within. Number 9 is Your Turn. Number 8 is Make Believe. Number 7 is Somebody. Number 6 is Only Human. We have 5 left. Brennan, you can go first to give Kyle some time to think. What do you want to table?
I think there's a very obvious selection here, even though I've had complaints of this from previous albums, but I do not think fatigue is a factor in this at all. I'm going to pick Blood and Water.
It's a safe pick. It's a safe pick.
Yeah.
Safe pick.
I'm picking The American Dream.
God fucking damn it!
I'm sorry. Do you want to pick The American Dream? You can pick that if you want that.
Nope.
Okay.
I don't wanna.
All right. Well, I've picked it then.
Oh no. Oh no.
Are you sure you don't want me to give that to you as your table?
Because that only leaves me with 3, right? Is that right?
Yeah, and I feel like you're going to table the wrong one, which makes me scared. Which is why I feel like you should just take The American Dream.
No, fuck you. I'm tabling Bleed Me Dry, motherfucker.
All right, well, that's a hard loss.
Okay,
Fuck.
You know what? Fuck it. We're calling an emergency meeting. Fucking, because y'all are being sus as fuck.
This is a bogus.
Talk to me about Bleed Me Dry. Fuck the table.
Well, no. Bleed Me Dry is good. Bleed Me Dry is good. I had a note in Bleed Me Dry. I have no negatives on any of these except Bleed Me Dry. I have a slight negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said as one of my notes that in general it sort of feels like a weakened version of Blood and Water.
Wow.
That might be completely off base, but that is a note that I had. At the very end of the song, I wrote, I really liked that, but it does kind of feel like a weaker version of the first track. There's a lot of positives, though. Like, verses are fucking breakneck speeds, very good. Chorus is good. Instrumentally, really good. Just all of these things are like a tier below Blood and Water as like a direct comparison. The pseudo breakdown in verse 2 is a cool choice. And then the actual breakdown is insanely fucking hard, and I love it. And then it goes from like a breakdown into like a stripped down bit a little bit. That's a cool choice. But ultimately, and it could just be because these two songs are side by side in the album. That was my like big takeaway at the end of the day at that song. I was like, this is good, but it just feels like a weakened version of Blood and Water. But I could be wrong. You guys could crucify me right now. I don't know.
You are wrong.
Okay.
I think you are wrong. I just legitimately think the song does it different, and I did not compare it to Blood and Water. I can see why you would think that. I don't want to invalidate you because I can see where you're coming from. However, I think you're stupid. I don't
think you're fucking stupid.
I don't think they're the same song. I'm gonna table Bleed Me Dry. Fuck it, because I like it more than the other two that left.
Okay.
I personally think it is objectively better than the other two. And that's, I'll fucking plant my fucking flag, baby.
Fuck.
Leaves us with 2 songs now, doesn't it? Sting a little?
Yeah, and they're both tracks that I think are better than Bleed Me Dry.
I agree.
That's crazy.
I completely agree.
Fucking crazy, isn't it? You did
It's
this.
weird though. Here's the thing though. Like, does tabling mean that like it just voids the democracy entirely? Because like if we both collectively would vote for the other ones to be above it, then wouldn't that mean that like we should vote for it to be?
Hold up. We had one situation where this occurred before, and that was with Padme off Gold Necklace.
Wow, isn't it weird that I was the defector there too?
Yeah, maybe you should like really think about your taste.
Yeah.
I think Bleed Me Dry does cooler shit than the other 2 songs do. It keeps me more interested. I think the breakdown has some great shit. Literally, Tyler, you fucking did my argument for me. You literally told so many great things about Bleed Me Dry.
Yeah, but like I also have the majority of those notes for the other 2 songs in question as well, and I think they do them better.
Especially, I mean, oh, fuck.
Like Left 4 Dead.
Oh, Left 4 Dead is a fucking bop. Like
the breakdown in Left 4 Dead alone.
Yeah, the breakdown is way better.
Opinion.
That and plus like the transition from the breakdown to like the final chorus.
Yeah.
And like how they like really slow down like the strumming and like the fucking like, you know, like it's way more like impactful. And then like I feel like the song really like leaves me off on a better note.
Yeah.
You know, because of that.
And I also like the part before like the last verse where everything kind of like cuts back for a second. And then, like, when the chorus comes back in, it's just like, boom, like, extra power because of, like, the cutout. It's, like, it was cool. It was a cool choice.
All right. Well,
but then again, I feel like if we were to keep delegitimizing Kyle, that sets a very dangerous precedence.
You're not wrong. Here, let's split the difference. Let's split the difference, right? Can we put Left 4 Dead... can we put Bleed Me Dry betwixt, if you will, Death Inside and Left 4 Dead? Can we sandwich that in there?
Betwixt.
Can that be our
100% for it? Because Death Inside is like the song where I like the one song on this album where I was just like, this just isn't doing it for me. Like I just didn't feel it.
Yeah, because I can live in a world where Bleed Me Dry is a better track than Death Inside.
I can also.
I can't live in a world where Left 4 Dead is worse than Bleed Me Dry, though.
Yeah, neither can I. Same way.
And I say this from a position of pain because I do really like Bleed Me Dry.
I do too. I don't want to invalidate that. I think Bleed Me Dry is a good song. I just think that it pales in comparison to Left 4 Dead.
All right. We gotta stop. This is getting too sympathetic, and I don't like that. I gotta get beat up a little bit more here, okay? If you guys both are in agreement that Bleed Me Dry is the next song, that is fine.
No, I'm fine with putting it above Death Inside.
No. I don't give a shit about what you think is fine. What do you think is the objective next song on the list? Like, don't worry about my
Not Left
poor
4
little
Dead.
feelings.
That's all I'll say. I can go either way on Death Inside and Bleed Me Dry. 100% honesty. I can go either way on that.
Okay.
I just think Left 4 Dead is better than Bleed Me Dry. Like, that is a hill I will die on. The other argument, like, it could go either way. So, like, we can hash out the Death Inside versus Bleed Me Dry argument, but as far as me and Brennan are concerned, Left 4 Dead just stomps on both of those other tracks. I think that's the vibe I was picking up anyway.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't want me having hot takes left and right be the thing that keeps us from the democracy that is the show, you know?
The democracy.
Because that's what it is at the end of the day. So I am also, I am more offended by Bleed Me Dry being below Death Inside, personally. Like, if it's Left 4 Dead versus Bleed Me Dry, I feel like there's a conversation. Death Inside, to me, I mean, we haven't really talked about it that much. I've only kind of just shit on it. But I think that the song just, I don't know. I mean, and like, the crazy thing is, right, before we came in here, it was just a note that I took where I was like, and I walked away. You know, I didn't realize it was going to become my defining feature in this video. I didn't think, but then I was like, you guys think it's like a top high song? Really? I mean, it just didn't fucking move me. And here we are. Haha. Funny comment in the comment section. It's Kyle stupid. Haha. Because he had opinion.
People probably agree with you above me and Brennan. I feel like I feel like the lists we end up with are almost always completely different than anything in the comments.
Yeah. Just for the sake of it, I think left hot takes, you know, just said, you know, absorb it for a second. I think Bleed Me Dry, Only Human, and Somebody are better than Left 4 Dead and Death Inside, personally. In my mind, I had like a divide there, personally. For the comments and for the people watching to understand, it's my mental, but it's a democracy, like I said, and I'm losing. I am the small business, and damn, it's Best Buy getting a lot of money, and I just can't keep up.
I could go as far as like putting Death Inside under Only Human, but that is it. Like, it could not. You could argue for that. It would not go an inch below. I would
absolutely fucking not. Death Inside. I mean, if I'm outvoted, I'm outvoted. But Death Inside, no. Like, the breakdown in it's way better than Bleed Me Dry. Although the breakdown in Only Human is, I think, like, it pulls out a little more stops. I don't necessarily think it's better. Like, for me, Death Inside, like, they had a clear goal, and how the fuck do I want to say this? Like, the track is one of those tracks in this album that is like immediately in your face. You know, the instrumentals and the verses are really neat. You know, kind of how it has like this, like, I call it like revolving guitar, where it's like, you know, these like notes that are constantly like in rotation. That couple with Matty Mullins, you know, doing his thing. That and like kind of like the lead up to the chorus, yeah, it might be a little weak, but then like the chorus itself like really fucking hits. Then the breakdown is way fucking gnarlier than Bleed Me Dry. Fuck. That like one thing I did pick up on in Bleed Me Dry, whenever he says like cut, kind of fucking brings me out of it though.
I actually really like the breakdown on Bleed Me Dry. I really like it.
I like the breakdown, but like just like it's kind of like fuck, what was that song? They released it with like Stay the Course. Like way back in the day.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't get those. I don't get those vibes at all from that. I get very different vibes from that. Honestly, you know what?
Okay,
I think the breakdown alone, I could put it over Death Inside.
What?
Bleed Me Dry.
Oh, Bleed Me Dry.
Breakdown alone. The more I think about it, I think I do like the breakdown in Bleed Me Dry more than Death Inside.
Is that enough to put the whole song over it, though?
In my opinion, as someone who saw them live, I distinctly remember that going pretty fucking hard.
I also remember this.
In a live setting. Like, the more I'm thinking about it, like, the chorus is okay. I think the chorus for Death Inside is, like, probably better. But, like, I don't know. That breakdown, though. That breakdown is really tempting me to put it over.
Yeah, but
especially
because
it has like the stripped down bit afterward. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to lean away. That might make Brennan unhappy and Kyle less salty. Honestly, I'm starting to change my tune a little bit here.
If that's the case, fair enough. But the breakdown in Death Inside is definitely better than Bleed Me Dry, because Bleed Me Dry's breakdown's like really simplistic and very one-notey, while like Death Inside is a little more like chaotic and a little bit more like going on there. Albeit it is shorter. One of my main complaints with the album is breakdowns are extremely short in a lot of these songs.
Yeah, I feel like Bleed Me Dry has one of the longer breakdowns.
It does, but the breakdown itself is like weak. Like I'd rather listen to like chuggy, palm muty, like epic breakdowns, or like even like something like in Death Inside where it's kind of like everywhere and it like hits hard. While like Bleed Me Dry just kind of has its like, this would be probably pretty insulting to the song, this kind of like droning effect where it just like kind of runs out. Like I don't really know how else to put it, but it seems like the breakdown just kind of like goes. Like it's just a bunch of noise, while like Death Inside is actually like fucking like hard hitting and like constructed.
So I caused a lot of problems today, and I want I'd like to put it out there, right, that during this debate where we have just fucking run all sorts of different directions, I have been listening to Death Inside, Bleed Me Dry back to back. All right, I would like to, on more listens and after hearing what you guys said, I'd like to remove my negative thoughts about Death Inside, because they're not as bad as I had initially thought. Listening to it, looking for the things you guys talked about, things I probably maybe just missed the first time, I don't know. But Death Inside, pretty tasty. However, the only thing I give Death Inside over Bleed Me Dry, the only thing, is that the instrumentals peak very hard in Death Inside. I think like some of like the back and forth and like the headset when you're listening to like some of like the verses, like it goes all over the place. Very cool shit in Death Inside. However, I think in every other aspect, I think Bleed Me Dry beats it out. And it's kind of a wide margin in some places. I think
so.
I think
so
the
it
chorus
sounds
of Bleed Me
like
Dry
what's
tastes
happening
good.
Is that Kyle would like to vote for Death Inside to be next and Bleed Me Dry to be above that, and Brennan would like Bleed Me Dry to be next and Death Inside to be above it, which would leave me with being the tiebreaker.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like die on this hill, but that's just, I feel like Death Inside is a better track. However, I think that the vote's pretty close.
I agree that it's very close, and I will say again that I enjoy both of these songs a lot. I will say though, I think that I have been swung a bit, and I think I'm going to side with Kyle on this. I think I'm going to put Bleed Me Dry above Death Inside.
Fair enough, man.
But I will not put it above Left 4 Dead.
Fuck no. Left 4 Dead's a way better track.
So if we're locking those in, if we're locking everything in, then we are now within the top 3. Being Blood and Water, The American Dream, and Left 4 Dead.
This is easy for me. This is really fucking easy.
You obviously want Left 4 Dead to be last of these 3.
Yeah.
I am kind of leaning that way also, just because the other two are so fucking good that I can't really... I don't know. But it's tough. I mean, in my opinion, these 3 deserve to be the top 3. This could really go any way. But I know... Because I know that Brennan and I really like Left 4 Dead, and Kyle does not. And Kyle and I really like The American Dream, and Brennan does not. So I feel like what's going to happen is that Blood and Water is going to be number 1.
I don't agree with that.
Oh. Forget what I said. So what do we want to, where do we want to start? What do we want to do?
We've got a problem. we've just got a problem.
Here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do first.
Oh,
just
boy.
to establish some form of pecking order, right?
Okay.
Since we've already talked about Left 4 Dead and The American Dream, let's compare them directly right now and decide which one is above the other, and then we will fit Blood and Water in around it accordingly. seems to be the way to get this done, usually, in an effective way. So, Kyle, I want you to talk about the American Dream.
It's just a better Left 4 Dead. In so many ways, it is. It's just a better version of the song. It's got fire smacks so many chords. I hope everything's okay. Fucking instrumentals. They're both extremely fast paced, right? They're both very in your face songs. They're both very aggressive compared to some other songs in this album that we've already talked about. I think that the chorus in American Dream is leagues better. Leagues fucking better. Do you remember the Left 4 Dead chorus? Like, do you remember, like, words from it? When you got, like, the fucking, he said, she said, and you're just fucking vibing to American Dream.
I agree.
Like,
I think that the American Dream has the best
dude.
chorus on the entire album.
I agree. I said, there's a reason why I said I didn't think somebody was, like, the best, and it's because I was thinking of this song. It's just, this song really fucking hits.
I 100% agree with that. It is constructed masterfully. With the way that they have made the lyrics like flowing, it's so unique sounding. It's so good. It's like something I've never heard before, and I love it. And just even what the song is about is just very like relevant, and it makes me want to sing along to it more. So
I will say, going on from that, they do a really good job at switching up clean to unclean in the verses in a way that other songs do. This song does it better and keeps the flow extremely well, and then lead up to like the build up of the breakdown, you get like kind of a taste of like the syncopated feel that immediately once you get to the actual build up of the breakdown, a lot of shit cuts out and you really just get that like crazy syncopated awesome drum shit back and forth. And then the breakdown. It soothes my soul, dude. The breakdown is so good. Immediately after the breakdown, it just fucking hits the pace again, flies to the ending with just the power of all that is good in the world. I agree. It is just the best song on this album.
I do have in my notes that I think that this is the best breakdown on the album, on American Dream. And I do also say that I think it is the best chorus on the album, which makes me think that, just like I said at the beginning of the episode, I think it should be number one objectively, maybe. And I know Brennan is not a happy camper about that statement, but you also thought that one of the songs sounded like Imagine Dragons, so I mean, how much?
Oh, I mean, it does. It's objective. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle hit everything on the head. I mean, I have zero negative notes about American Dream. Ever since it came out, I've listened to it like on repeat, even more than Blood and Water, even more than Left 4 Dead. I think it is like an all-time great Memphismayfire song. Like, I think it is like instant classic material. I would also say the same for Blood and Water. I would also say that for that. But I don't know. American Dream is just like a perfect beast. It's like a golden unicorn. It's like something that doesn't come around every day, you know? Blood and Water is a unicorn. You don't see it every day, but it's not gold, you know? Left 4 Dead, I think, is third. But Brennan, talk about Blood and Water first, I guess. Because that's what you tabled.
That is what I tabled. I think Blood and Water was the absolute perfect leading single that they could have released, both in preparation for this album and of course on this album. Like when this song came out, I was extremely pumped that we're finally going to get a good Memphis Mayfire record for the first time arguably since Unconditional. And Unconditional was even a step down from Challenger, and I think Challenger is a step down from The Hollow.
I agree with
although
everything you said so far.
Not as big a step down, because Challenger is still pretty dope, but it's fantastic. However, I do believe it should be third, because this song is arguably the most formulaic of them all. It literally kind of sets the formula that a lot of the album follows. However, it does it like obviously some of the best of the record. The chorus is absolutely awesome. Just objectively from top to bottom. I mean, note selection, like, you know, lyric choice, like epic. The instrumentals, I always thought that this song, like instrumentally and like Death Inside, were kind of like not similar sounding, but like similar like setup. Especially like the riff that like opens the track and like really carries you like through the verses and stuff is like incredible. And how it does like lead into the choruses with him saying like what's dead is dead, and how like everything kind of dies out, and then boom, you ramp right the fuck up, like right into the choruses. Once again, short breakdown. That's just kind of the formula here. But a very, very solid track. And I do think it is very worthy of the top 3. So Blood and Water is a banger. And I think, as you said before, it should earn its place amongst like some of the better Memphis Mayfire songs in existence.
Yeah. I feel that it's like an instant classic amongst their. I mean, they also fucking opened their set with it in the city of Cleve, and I was like, everyone
as
was going ballistic.
Dude, that was the moment that I knew I went too hard, is because I was just like, I went into that going, if Blood and Water plays, I'm gonna go fucking nuts. And then they started, and I was like, I'm fucked. Like, I went way too
I
hard,
feel that.
And it ruined me.
We also didn't bring up the fact that Blood and Water has like a pseudo breakdown in the second verse before the actual breakdown even happens, which is crazy. Like, such a good choice. I was not expecting you to say that you wanted it to be third.
Same.
Because I mean, I could put it above Left 4 Dead. I'm realizing the error in my ways, bringing up the American Dream before. Now, usually when songs do like the he said, she said kind of thing, I kind of
think of Limp Bizkit.
Well, that's
what are these bands that we're comparing this album to today? What is fucking happening? I'm so sorry.
He said, she said bullshit.
I'm so sorry.
You'll be leaving with a fat lip. Fuck it, no. No, but there's like, I've heard it in like similar executions, like in tracks like kind of similar to this. But the rest of the chorus around it is just immaculate, and the breakdown is like, it doesn't have like the effect that I get from when I listen to Bleed Me Dry, like, because you have like chug and then like a note that really like kind of like, you know, like throws it off, like there's like syncopation and shit, and I mean, it's just fucking dope. like if I heard that shit live, I'd fucking lose my shit. But I mean, same thing for Left 4 Dead. I mean, that breakdown is just fucking, it's just dirty, you know. Blood and Water really doesn't have that. Blood and Water, like I said, does really have an excellent chorus, but I put my vote that it should be third, even though I love it.
Okay, Kyle, what do you think? Between Left 4 Dead and Blood and Water.
I walked away from this album with two big takeaways that I did not talk about right away. One is that I felt as though the album had like a formulaic nature to it overall. That, you know, even though we said that, there are things that we've talked about like literally every song that makes them stand out, other than like maybe one. So like, that's awesome. I think that's really great, because it is a step above that dig that we hit it with. That's my number one. My number two was that Blood and Water and American Dream are going to be the two songs that people are going to come back to all the fucking time off of this album, in my mind. Like, I listened to those two songs and I was just like, these are them. Like, these are the ones that come back to the insta classics, where I said that like the American Dream chorus is one that people are just going to have fucking like ingrained in them, in this fandom, in this community. That guitar lick that starts Blood and Water is going to be like, you hear that and you fucking lose your mind. Like, that, it's just what it's going to be for like the future of Memphis Mayfire. And they're just such strong staying power, like in the band, like also trying things. Like there's just so much to go with both of them. And I already said that like Left 4 Dead I think is a strong track. It's fine. It's just nothing about it makes me go, oh my god, I have to come back to this album to listen to this. You know, I'm never gonna do that. Like in my personally, like whereas these two songs, I'm gonna search them out. These are the songs I'm like, I hope they play them live. You know, like they're mainstays for me now. As far as Blood and Water goes, because I did say stuff about Left 4 Dead, specifically in Blood and Water. I think that the guitar riff, the way they like down tune the second time they hit the guitar riff every time is awesome. It's so cool. It's so unique. I love it. The drums immediately, like it's like I've said the drums go hard all over the place in this album, and this is like the starting point, and it does not disappoint. Like it gives it to you, and it's incredible. The chorus is extremely catchy. I think the repetition of What's Dead is Dead is really good, especially into the breakdown is incredible. I think the breakdown itself is really strong. Whether or not I was also worried a bit that like me seeing it live was gonna kind of like sway me a bit. I don't know if it did because it's still really high. But it felt really, really great live. And just fuck, I made notes of it like 4 times. I was like, God, that ascending guitar riff is just so good. It just feels so great.
Let me stop you there. I gotta put Blood and Water above Left 4 Dead. I'm changing my vote.
Cool. I think we're all unanimously in the same place now then, because I also gonna put it over Left 4 Dead. I do, contrary to what Kyle said, because I agree with everything you said except for one thing. I also think that Left 4 Dead is going to become like a staple, not necessarily as much as these other two songs, but it is one that I personally come back to a lot. And I think that like the fandom in general probably will as well. Cool. These are the 3 songs, regardless of this order, and I think we're all pretty much on same terms with the order at this point. But like going into this, I was like, these 3 have to be the top 3. And this is what happened. Because it is the truth, and we have done society a great service for having an accurate top 3, I think, for this. We don't always have that happen, but I think I will be shocked if there is a single list in the comments below of someone's personal ranking that does not have these as their top 3 in any order. It will baffle me. But yeah, so I think we're decided, right? American Dream is 1, Blood and Water is 2, Left 4 Dead is 3.
I think that's the way it should be. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree. We've done it after just a heaping pile of hot takes and it's just some violence throughout. Man, we've made it to the end. This was definitely this was an episode.
This is a weird one. This
was a lot more heated than I was expecting this to be. I was like, this is a short album. We'll probably be able to crank this out in like 45 minutes. Not the case.
Nope.
As it turns out, we're in very different realms for a lot of this, but that's okay. Made things interesting. Hope y'all enjoyed it at home. People tend to like the fighting, so that's good. I'm gonna do a recap here of our list, and then we're gonna close it on out. So, number 11 is Misery. Number 10 is The Fight Within. Number 9 is Your Turn. Number 8 is Make Believe. Number 7 is Somebody. Number 6, Only Human. Number 5, Death Inside. Number 4, Bleed Me Dry. Number 3, Left 4 Dead. Number 2, Blood and Water. And number 1, The American Dream. We've done it!
Once again,
we've done it. It was painful, but we did it, and we're here. And I'm pretty happy with the way this list turned out. So I know Kyle's probably not, but I think
I mean, there's only like 2 songs that I thought were gonna be like slightly higher than where they end up, which is like Somebody and Only Human, that I felt slightly better about. And now as you recap it, I'm like, it really only got knocked down like maybe a spot or 2 from where I would have fought for it anyways. So in all honesty, it ended up being pretty close to what I was. For top 2 were the 2 that I was just like, that has to be where we're going, right? Like, I hope. Like, when we started dissenting, I was like, please don't tell me. When it was be like, Blood and Water's like 5th, dude. What the fuck? I was like, please don't let this happen.
That's why when Brendan said American Dream, I was like, I hope I'm not the only one who just is absolutely in total disagreement with this. Because if I have to fight for this to not be in the bottom, I'll be so upset.
No, I was thinking American Dream was like, in my personally, I had like a round number like 4 and 5-ish. I had Blood and Water, Death Inside, and Left 4 Dead as my top 3.
Gotcha.
But yeah, after re-listening to American Dream while you guys are talking about it, I'm like, yeah, this is probably number 1 for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to come to a consensus there at the end. Let us know in the comments below what your order of these songs are. I'm sure they'll be shockingly different because it tends to be the case a lot of times. But if your top 3 is anything different than our top 3, you should be ashamed of yourself. With that being said, please give this video a like if you liked it, because we really just expended a lot of energy on this one, and any amount of likes would really just make it all worth it. Also, if you are not subscribed to the Talks a Lot Boys, please consider doing so, because, man, that would just be so awesome, and that would mean the world to us if you would do that. It supports us just a ton. We've been pumping those numbers up lately. For our standards, and we are just so excited about it. Growing the Listen a Lot lads. It's a fun time to be a part of this channel. So join us, join our army of commenters, and do all the things, and it would just make us so dang happy.
Dementors.
Yeah, and go listen to other album reviews where we argue less too, or where we argue more. Both have happened.
Pink Elephant.
Yeah, Pink Elephant
Pink
from
Elephant.
Atlantic.
Nothing has ever gone worse than Pink Elephant.
Yeah. If you like the energy here, you're gonna adore our Pink Elephant.
Oh yeah,
Please
yeah.
check
If
that
you
out.
just like get off on hate, you will love the last like 30 minutes of Pink Elephant.
that was a war.
That's a wild one.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. So we have been the Talks a Lot Boys, and we will talk a whole lot more next time. Bye bye.